Everyone is very well familiar with the rat coated with strings, plus his amazing move in saving people, most especially those who are in danger. It's Spider-Man. The ownership of Spider-Man is a battle between two firms, with Marvel on one side and Sony on the other. As a result, poor Spider-Man is just trying hard to keep the companies alive. If you like Marvel films, particularly Spider-Man, you've probably been at least once over the last few weeks and spent a bit of time deciding whether to enjoy Spidey's action-packed adventure or try to capture every last element on film.
You're the Spider-Man.
This video is brought to you by Answerly, a question platform that pays you for adding high-quality answers on different questions. The users are rewarded in Answerly tokens, which they can easily convert into dollars or any other cryptocurrency by using one of the exchanges mentioned in the description.
Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be talking about everything you missed on Spider-Man Homecoming. If you are a fan of Spider-Man, then this video suits you. So without further ado, let's get started. MJ's book. MJ is a fictional character created exclusively for MCU and is based on Mary Jane Watson. MJ's frequently studying of book that is secretly relevant to the film she's playing is one of her best quirks. For example, consider the Book of Human Bondage, which is about an orphan boy who, like Peter Parker, lives with his aunt and uncle. Another book she studied was Invitation to Beheading, about a guy who is imprisoned and has only a dangling spider as a companion. All around the place, the universe was thrown into her hands. Yeah, it's no surprise she figured out Peter Parker was Spider-Man through her own.
MJ, I'm
Spider-Man.
But before we continue discussing things you have missed on the Spider-Man Homecoming, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, because if you don't, you will not be able to know the things you have missed in watching the Spider-Man Homecoming. Let us talk about Aunt May's license plate. She's lovely elderly Aunt May one event, then good-looking young Aunt May the next. You'll want to take a look at Aunt May's rusted-out car for this one. Check at the license plate AMF1562 in particular. This is an Easter egg that refers to Aunt May's debut presence in the comics, which occurred in the Amazing Fantasy No. 15 in 1962. In addition, we have a vehicle with a registration plate HTD003 in the fairy tale setting. That means Howard the Duck and that there could be a partnership in the Howard the Duck number comic. Now, we have Vulture Batman reference. The MCU scored a major coup when Michael Keaton was cast as the villain in Spider-Man Homecoming. The actor is most remembered for his role as Batman in Tim Burton's cult classic comic book film. How wonderful would it have been if Vulture appeared in the front of the moon, evoking the intense scene when a bat swings swords in front of the moon, forming a bat symbol. This is fantastic, but it's nothing compared to Keaton allegedly muttering in Tom Holland's ear, "I'm Batman and I'm always cracking a hoot." Another matter that people have missed is Peter's AI Karen. Peter Suit's dulcet-toned AI has much more Marvel film ties than some might perceive initially. Jennifer Connelly, who portrayed Betty Ross in Ang Lee's Hulk, provides the voice for Karen as Peter refers to her. Connelly is married to Paul Bettany, who portrays Vision and formerly portrayed Iron Man's artificial intelligence Jarvis. Furthermore, speculation about what this means for Jocasta's fate has flooded the media. Ultron have developed Jocasta, so he would still not be alone in the story, but she subsequently fell in love with Vision. Although Ultron has vanished and the name Jocasta has appeared on another of Tony's AIs, many believe Karen is that persona, and that with Avengers team-ups on the horizon, she may establish emotions for Vision. Things could get even more problematic if Vision, like in the fiction, starts dating Scarlet Witch. Furthermore, we have Megan Yord. Happy takes all of the Avengers gear from the Avengers Tower to the Avengers Complex, which is one of the funniest references in Homecoming. Thor's belt was one of the items. In Norse mythology, this belt was said to be able to quadruple Thor's ability. Regardless of the fact that Thor could have used the double strength so many times, we never see him use the belt. The job of Happy in Homecoming is truly iconic in that he moves all of the artifacts in the Avengers facility to maintain them secure. Several years later, they practically blew up the facility. Another is Cindy Moon. Ned Leeds, Liz Allen, Flash Thompson, and Betty Brant are the most prominent characters of the film Spider-Man. There is also A. Brown, nicknamed the Black Tiger, and Sally Averill, aka Bluebird, who are both deep-cut references. Just about all of the students at Midtown School of Science and Technology are figures from decades of fantastic Spider-Man comics. Furthermore, there was one major Spider-Man role who attended this high school who has received far too little notice, and that is Cindy Boone, a Spider-Man superhero co-star. The same radioactive spider who bit Peter bites her. Fortunately, MCU Cindy appears to be immune to the spider bite, or else school trips with her and Peter would have been seriously unpleasant for the rest of the passengers on the bus. It is really that when Peter eventually encounters her, the pair are so biologically attracted to one another that they strike each other's faces like they're both in an advertisement for body spray. Moving forward to the Civil War. The MCU films frequently fail to mention of major happenings in previous films. Like in Iron Man 3, when AIM abducted the president for whatever reason, people automatically think that they would get a callback at the very least. We have no idea if President Ellis kidnapped stuff to ensure his re-election. Thankfully, Spider-Man Homecoming creates a good job of addressing MCU history, with a civil war that occurred just before the actions of the film being discussed frequently. Peter's home movie rendition of Civil War, Captain America's PSA despite being in a war, and Peter's friendship with Tony Stark, which started in the last movie, are the apparent ones. What's even funnier is that there's a professor who taught a lecture in the movie. It is also important to note Aaron Davis' car. It is like a reference within a reference to Donald Glover's presence in Homecoming. For one thing, there was a massive viral moment to put Glover in the role of Spider-Man. This was also brought up by the viewers of his own program. He also did a brief cameo as Miles Morales in Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. In Homecoming, Glover would portray Miles' uncle Aaron Davis, also known as the Prowler. This seemed to be a reward for a Miles Morales film in which he would face his uncle, but instead, we got to see the playoff in both the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Also, the Easter egg was Aaron's registration number, UCS MO1, which refers to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man 1, the first issue in the Ultimate Spider-Man franchise in which Miles took the lead. Down to our last, Iron Spider suit. Peter is hauled up to the new Avengers headquarters at the end of the movie and given a seat in the group. Peter is given an update to his already Starkified Spidey costume, in addition to Tony's appreciation, a space next to Vision's, and the dangerously casual attitude of it appearing alright for a 15-year-old to be removed from high school and whisked away from his only remaining family. What we see in the film appears to be a Spider-Man and Iron Man suit combination, most likely based on the different metal costumes Peter has worn in the books. Tony Stark constructs the Iron Spider suit for Peter during the events of the first Marvel Civil War, which the film adaptation most strongly matches except for 3 Waldo spider limbs that made it so deadly. Unfortunately, Peter declines the offer of employment, but with more Spider-Man Tony Stark time in the MCU's future, there will still be a possibility fans will have it in play in the coming years. It is indeed true that Spider-Man Homecoming is one of the iconic and greatest movies in the MCU. It is great in a manner where people did have missed different matters as they watched it. Other people would probably go and binge-watch the Spider-Man Homecoming just so they would see with their own eyes the things that we have discussed in here. What are the things you know about this movie? Has this video hooked your attention to rewatch Spider-Man Homecoming? Let us know your thoughts about this video in the comments section down below.
If you like this video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. To learn more about Answerly and Answerly tokens, check out the links in the description.